What's going on, guys? Good morning from the White Mountain National Forest of New Hampshire. My name is Joseph Getz, and this is Getz Wild. Today we're going to be continuing our 4,000 foot hiking series here in New Hampshire with two 4,000 foot peaks. First we're going to be summiting Mount Osceola, and then its more rugged, shorter neighboring 4,000 foot peak, East Osceola. So there are two different ways that you can hike the Osceolas. From the southern terminus, which is what we're at right now, it's the trailhead off of Tripoli Road, and the northern terminus, which is the Greeley Pond parking area trailhead, and that is the approach from the north. There's only one trail, and that's the Mount Osceola Trail. We're going to be taking the Mount Osceola Trail all the way up to the top of Mount Osceola. It's 3.2 miles to the summit, and then from there it's just another mile to the summit of East Osceola. So the entire round trip today is only 8.4 miles. So this is a easy to moderate 4,000 foot hike. You can bag two peaks all at once, and it's gonna be a good hike. Well, as you guys just saw, the Forest Service actually just rolled up as Dexter and I were about to begin our hike. They're checking the deposit box, so today would not have been the day to cheap out and risk not paying for parking. The first mile and a half of the Mount Osceola Trail leading from Tripoli Road is rather rugged, very rocky, so watch your footing. I imagine on the way down after a long hike, when you're tired, that this is gonna be a little bit of a pain for some people. We haven't even gone a mile yet, but I think it's already time to shed this top layer. It's amazing how quickly you warm up when you start hiking and start climbing that elevation. Don't need this anymore. Something to keep in mind when hiking Osceola from Tripoli Road is that there really is no source of water, so make sure to bring all the water that you need for this hike with you. There's really going to be no good place to filter water if you are in need of it. So there's this little section here where, just over a mile into the hike, and a little splash of water here, and Dexter was able to lap up a little bit, but that's all you're going to get from this, is just a little bit of water, maybe for your dog. To this point, we've been scaling Bread Tray Ridge. Bread Tray Ridge got its name from the Native American tribal women that would climb up Bread Tray Ridge every single week with their bread trays, and they would pray to the bread god that their dough would rise. They had no idea what yeast was. They just thought it was the bread god, and they thought that this ridge held spiritual powers, and so thus the name Bread Tray Ridge. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Bread Tray Ridge actually has a very scientific reason for its name, and that's because it is very long and flat, just like a bread tray. Just over a mile and a half into the hike, and the Mount Osceola Trail has kind of leveled off a little bit. Some really nice hiking right now, just little ups and downs, nothing very strenuous at all. It's just a gorgeous morning here. Dexter and I are cherishing this moment that we have to bond with one another. At an elevation of 3,330 feet, you get a nice little view here off to the right of Waterville Valley. It's a pretty large ski resort here in New Hampshire. We're gonna be able to see this really well from the top once we get up there, but just wanted to point that out. Oh, you jump up there so you get a better vantage point? You can go right around it, Dexter. There's really no reason to do that. I think he just wanted a view. You guys can see, we're starting to get some views here. We've moved away from the ridge and we're moving further towards the middle of the mountain now as we make the final approach to the summit of Mount Osceola. Quite a bit of mud here too. Turns out the altimeter on my watch was not calibrated, so just disregard all those other mentions of elevation earlier in this hike, because we are at the summit of Mount Osceola. Holy crap. This is amazing. It's well worth the hike to come up here. You guys can see here these big concrete blocks, and these are what remains of different variations of fire lookout towers that were once in place here on top of Mount Osceola. The first fire lookout tower was constructed in 1910 here by the New Hampshire Timberland Owners Association along with the Forestry Service. That tower was actually replaced with a steel tower in 1923, which was then again replaced in 1942. And that last tower was manned up until 1955, which was its final season. The tower stayed unoccupied until 1985, and that's finally when the Forest Service took it down. It's a mile from the summit of Osceola to East Osceola, and for the most part, it's not a very difficult hike, with one exception. There's something called the chimney, and it's this near vertical kind of rock face. There is a detour to go around the chimney, so I'll be sure to point that out to you guys too. So you don't have to do it, but if you were looking for a way to challenge yourself, the chimney might just be that challenge. All right, we've reached the notorious chimney, and I'm gonna do my best to get you a good look at this thing. I don't know if you can see, if you can tell right behind me there, that is where I just came down from. So a little bit of a steep section in and of itself right there. Dexter already made it down there because he's a boss. Steep chimney section this way. Side trail right to the left here. So the side trail here, just kind of follow it down and around. But I'm gonna go back this way and tackle the chimney so I can show you guys exactly what you're going to be dealing with. So there's Dexter, he already made it down. So this isn't too bad. I don't know how well you can tell the steepness of this from the video, but I'm obviously taking my time here to make sure I get my footing right. Immediately after you conquer the chimney, you're going to reach the col. The col between these two mountains is 3,820 feet. We are now going to start ascending back up the ridge up to East Osceola. A little bit of a steep scramble here on the way up to East Osceola, although Dexter, as usual, didn't seem to have much of an issue. At 4,000 feet elevation, there's a nice little viewpoint to the north and west. There's this little ledge here, and it's a nice little viewing point. You can check out the ledges over there on Osceola where we just came from. We were literally just all the way up there not very long ago. Just goes to show how quickly you can rack up mileage here. And here's what the final slog up to East Osceola looks like. You know, if it wasn't on the list of 48 4,000 foot peaks in New Hampshire, I can't see any real reason why anybody would feel any sort of desire whatsoever to summit East Osceola. So honestly, if you guys have no interest in completing the list of 4,000 footers in New Hampshire, I would say this is one of the peaks that you do not put the extra effort to hike. All right, I know that this is really exciting for you guys. We have finally made it to a wooded summit. So there is the cairn behind me. We'll do a slow 360 here. And as you can tell, this is completely and utterly forested. Yeah, I mean, really exciting stuff. They can't all be the best mountain. Big bars, pineapple pressed beef jerky, Vermont ancho pepper turkey stick. Dexter and I are reluctantly leaving the summit of Mount Osceola. It was absolutely gorgeous up there. And we're heading back to the trailhead where we started, but I got with me Tragically Hopped, which is a double IPA that we brew at Great North Ale Works. And the name Tragically Hopped is a play off of the Canadian band Tragically Hip, a super hoppy beer. We literally used twice the amount of hops at every step in the process to produce this beer than we do for our typical IPA. So it's 8.2%, it's crystal clear, and it's really, really tasty. Cheers, guys. All right, we made it back to the trailhead. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Dexter and I are gonna head home, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. Really means a lot to me, all of the support, and I hope this inspires you guys to get out in your own backyard and explore a little bit. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Catch us next week when we climb another mountain here in New Hampshire. And until then, gets wild.